Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shayna and I do a lot of different content, but in today's content we are doing yet another read with me. This is the third book in the Calloway sister series, Fuel the Fire. It is Rose and Connor's book. I am so excited. It is their second book in this Calloway sister series and I am almost done. I finished the Addicted series just a couple days ago and I'm linking all of my read with me's for the Addicted and the Calloway sister series down below. I'm so freaking excited to start this. As you know, if you've been following along, Connor and Rose are pretty much my favorite couple because they are much like Chuck and Blair. And Chuck and Blair is on my top 3 favorite couples list. So I'm so freaking excited to start this. I cannot wait. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is the unpublished version because the Berkeleys have not come out yet. So this is still by the Ritchie sisters, but look how pretty this is. This is 11 years later. We got a prologue of where Connor and Rose first meet, and when I tell you I was all smiles the entire time I was reading it, I'm so happy that I got to see that because we got little bits and pieces of their past. We knew that they met at a Model UN and competition. Over here wanted her from the beginning. Oh, that's so freaking sweet, and I absolutely love this. And here we go into chapter 1. And I now know why Rose calls him Richard and not Connor from the very beginning. I'm sure that he probably told her at some point in their life, but obviously she wasn't going to change it. Your turn, Richard, she said my first name with spite, venom seeping into each letter, as though she was slaughtering the syllables. I didn't care to correct her, to tell her that everyone called me Connor. I was taken by her passion, so I wouldn't stop her, not once. In chapter 1, oh my god, chapter 1, the book just goes straight into it. So what's happening now is what happened in the last Addicted book, Addicted After All, and Connor is trying to protect Lo and Lily and their family from media that could direly hurt them and someone that they love more than anything else in the entire world. And Connor told them that he would take care of it. So to squash this issue, he had to make a deal. This time and probably his entire life, he's choosing a price with no reward for himself. You know, when you asked me to do this with you, I say softly while he drives back to my childhood house. He nods once. I think I fell in love with you all over again. I admit, this is something I would have chosen without a second thought, to protect the people I love. Years ago, Connor would have laughed at those words. Love, it meant nothing to him. Now it's guiding his choices. It's so freaking sweet. I am so proud of him. Now we get to see Connor's growth. Yay, Connor. I have to nod. I have to agree with this. She's been forthcoming so far, and if this is her stipulation, I have to compromise what I want. The next 6 months will be the most important to me in my entire life. This is only chapter 2, y'all. And we're getting huge amounts of information. I think what the main plot is in this book, or at least one of them, is going to be what I just read. I believe that this book is going to be over the course of the next 6 months to decide what their future is going to look like. And I'm really excited about it and also extremely nervous. But here we go. Well, I am so freaking worried because I feel like this book, it's alluding to Reich and Connor, starting a better relationship, actually getting to know each other, because they actually don't know each other that well. They are only friends, or they're only living together. They only are in that group because of Lo. I was really looking forward to seeing their relationship grow in this. I'm not sure how well it is going to because of the conflict in the book, because Reich is very smart, and although he isn't, obviously, as Connor would say, no one is smarter than me. So obviously Reich is not smarter than him, which I also believe, but he's also very intuitive and he can tell that there's something going on, but knows that if he gets in the middle of it, he's just going to make it worse. He's going to make it obvious and they're not going to be able to take care of it themselves. And Connor's really worried that he's going to tear down something that he really thinks that Reich would believe in. He knows that he would really want to help, but he would not be able to help in the way it needs to be done. So I'm really worried that there's going to be some conflict with those two men in this book, and my heart just can't take it, but we'll just have to see. This part makes me just a little bit sad. You taught me this. She taught me how to be real. I taught her how to be fake. I wish I could take pride in this part, but I have none. I don't want to discuss it anymore. I feel so bad, but I know that they're doing this out of love. They have to perform, they have to fake, they have to put on the dramatics, as Rose would say, for the cameras, for the media, so that way they can keep this thing hidden and away from Lily and Lo and while they're doing it. But Connor feels so bad because literally what he just said, Rose taught him how to be real, like a real person. He likes to play games. Rose doesn't. Rose is upfront and she's honest and she's truthful and she doesn't fake herself. Like, she's not a fake person. She is who she is and you have to take her as that. Connor plays the game. He plays the system and he has always played people and have used them to get what he wants. And he has done that and said that on more than one occasion. He is also a very honest person, but he does it in a completely different way than Rose does. And it sucks because they're having to switch positions. And it's really weird to see, and I feel bad that it has to happen, but they're in the predicament. What you gonna do? We'll never get enough of Rose's sense of humor and the way she speaks to people and her haughty personality. I love it. And I wish I had these same exact thoughts and looks that she does, but I just don't. No one has slung an insult my way yet, and I realize my murder is I will run over you and then go in reverse for good measure glare has shut their lips. I'm at a loss for words at this point. So apparently they just introduced a new plot, a new conflict that they're going to be dealing with, in a pretty big one. Very big one. It still surrounds the media. It's still the main big issue. It's all under that one bubble, but there are different tabs under that bubble, and this one, I think, is the worst. A network sent the most evil person that I believe that this series created to their neighborhood to make their lives a living hell until they agreed to make a second season of the reality show that was in the first Rose and Connor book. Because they want to expose something that is closest to their heart and something that they want to protect with everything that they have and refuse to put them in the limelight. And the plan that they had before, they have no idea if it's going to work because they realize that this is what they want. This is what they want to see. And they want this because when they refused to do another season, their ratings dropped. And which is why another piece, a chapter or so ago that I didn't mention or anything, Lo is having issues with company is someone that Hilco uses as advertisement, and they're refusing to advertise on their network until they agree to do a second season and expose and let people in on something that is so personal to them that they are refusing to put into the media because they don't want them to have to deal with the scrutiny. They don't want them to have to deal with the media when they didn't ask for it, just like they did. Even though they didn't have to grow up with it, it just happened when they were all adults or almost adults. They don't want them to have to deal with this, and they're basically trying to force them. Hale just declared war. Breaks the silence. Let me remind the three of you how this works. He points to Reich. You go to jail, Scott wins. He looks to me. You scream at him, he smiles, he wins. I swallow the sour taste as he turns to Lo. You sign on a second season, he wins. We do nothing, just like last time. Lo says evenly, and he wins. Let me figure it out, Connor tells us. I'll take care of Scott, but for now, do him what he wants. He likes inciting all of you, and tonight was practically his wet dream, so please just calm down. Connor rubs his lips and drops his hand. You do know what Lily called the three of you, right? We stare between each other, confused. I would have known if she had a nickname for us. She's my sister. She mutters it under her breath. Connor's off our silence, the hot-tempered triad. My lips twitch upward. Reich actually laughs, which causes Lo to laugh. My little sister can be very clever without realizing. And then Connor makes this declaration. Scott isn't winning this time, I promise. I inhale strongly, mixed strangely with fear and confidence. I promise. Translation, only one of us will be left standing. Which sucks, and I fucking hate this human being, and I've never said I hate anybody. Not truthfully. But I definitely hate this fictional character. This book is a Connor and Rose book, but it's also dealing with a Daisy issue. Connor's therapist that he's had a long time is one of his closest friends. Now Daisy is seeing this therapist. They're reluctant on sharing anything because obviously that stuff is confidential, but they have a very special relationship, and this is also fiction, and he knows that Connor's not going to go back and like say anything. This is the observations and stuff that I was making in the prior books about Daisy and how she is and all of her issues that she has and why she does what she does. Connor point blank sums it up in literally one sentence. Daisy would rather trick herself into believing she's okay than ruin the rest of our time worrying that she's not. And how do you know this? He asked while I headed to the door. I've mastered the art of hiding emotions. She's good, but she's not better than me. I say, my eyes fixing on hers. I could live with the sex tapes for the rest of my life and never feel an ounce of pain from their existence. And all this time, you've made me believe that you could too, but I can see that's not true. She gapes. It is, Rose. I say her name like you knew the truth like me. That night we confronted Scott, you showed your card. She screamed like the sex tapes had happened yesterday, like they still hurt above all we've been through. And maybe I knew all this time, but I just wanted to believe you were like me. She shivers. After a much longer pause, she says, and I didn't realize how much the sex tapes had still hurt me until that night either. Rose more in context with Scott than anything. I had no say in whether or not people could jack off to my body, and he did. I feel so bad for her because Connor has found a way around it to not feel some type of way about it. He was able to accept it and to use it as a benefit for himself, and Rose said the same thing. And even though it has benefited their company or his company, but she's married to him, so his money is her money, it's hard emotionally, and Rose has been struggling with that, and she didn't realize it or admit it to herself until the man who made it all happen came back into their life. So this really sucks, really angry, but I know that there's highs and lows in a book. It's part of the plot, it's part of the conflict, it's part of what makes it interesting. So I am looking forward to see how it is resolved, but I'm also honestly looking forward to going through the pain of reading it because that's just what it's all about. LMAO, I'm dead. Now, this probably isn't even a pivotal part of the book, but I just think it's hilarious that this is happening, and I'm not really gonna give context as to what it is because that's just something that I want you to read and find out. But I think that it's funny that Rose is now having to work with this person that was, I'm gonna say, a pivotal part of her husband's life. From Connor's perspective, it's definitely not pivotal, but to a normal human being it would be. I'm just gonna leave that there. It's fucking hilarious. Fate is telling me something. I willingly ignore the ominous sign and straighten my back. Ooh, spooky. I wonder if it's more than that now. I doubt it, but it could possibly be. Oh my god, how Connor is being portrayed right now is 100% spot on. That he was manipulating all of you. Yeah, he would tell us as much. We always joked that he was the type of person who'd explain how he was going to stab you in the front before he actually shoved the knife in and you let him. Of course, in some circumstances, he'd probably even pass you the knife so you can shove it in your own chest, and you would. Connor is that person. Connor is that type. And now this is scary. So now I think that this person that I thought was funny that Rose is not having to work with could actually be a big impact on their lives. In this book, it's like every single chapter I'm getting a new freaking subplot or to the conflict or whatnot. I don't know if he's going to be a conflict or if he's a good guy. There is some cause for alarm, just a little bit, because you never know who to trust, and that's exactly where Rose is. She doesn't know if she can trust him or not, and I don't know if that's her anxiety and her fear and Rose just getting inside of her head, or if it's real caution that she should be taking. But I guess only time will tell.
I love so much how the writers write these books in each person's perspective, how they are so perfect for the people. And this book exactly resembles their first book in the Calloway Sisters series. Words and thoughts that Rose has, same exact translation, which literally is her word, translation. She says it a lot in her head. Like when Connor says something to her, she's like, okay, this is what he also meant by it. This is really what he meant by it, into simpler terms. And I love that this happens, and the last part of this chapter was the sweetest thing ever. It was their Christmas chapter. It's the cutest and sweetest thing ever, and the last page of this book was, in my own words, hot, and it wasn't even a sex scene. To me, it was just pure intimacy and shows so much about them as a couple, and I really, really love that. Connor's going back to what he knows best to try and win this fight, or this whatever this is, with Scott Van Wright, which is the really horrible, nasty, evil villain in this book. He's going to fake friendship to manipulation, which is something he didn't have the chance to do prior relationship because of the confines of a contract for a reality show, and now he has that option. And Rose is scared that he's not going to believe it, but Connor is confident in the fact that he's not intelligent enough to realize that this has actually happened, that he's using him and manipulating him to get what he wants so they can come out on top. So that's the tactic he's trying to use to get him out of their life. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. I'm nervous for her, and honestly for everybody. But yeah. Thank you. I tried to translate its deeper meaning, but my mind has been spun around and fucked for too long. I fight to keep my eyes open. It must have been the best sex you've ever had. For me, it was in our top 5. It wasn't about the sex, he says so faintly that I almost miss it. What then? You tried harder yesterday to please me more than you ever have, and, he pauses in realization, I've never wanted to miss out on a rare moment in life. And every year with you on my birthday, I've been escaping one. He adds softly, this was perfect. He begins to smile, clutching onto him more. You truly believe that? He nods, the sincerity washing over his face, and then he kisses my forehead, leaving a warm imprint even after his lips withdraw. My eyes are nearly shut as he whispers, and Rose, yes, I breathe. I'm tragically in love with you too. When I say that's the sweetest thing ever, sweetest thing ever. So, how Rose feels about her birthday is how I feel about mine. That it's a huge day, it's all about me. But Connor is the complete opposite, although he's a freaking narcissist to its finest. He doesn't care about it. He thinks it's another day. He usually leaves town by himself, doesn't tell anybody, just goes. But Rose has been fighting to make his birthday special for once and, like, give him something that he really wants, and they've, like, tried so hard this year to do it and had basically trapped him in the house. And Rose did for him was something that he really loved and something that he didn't realize that he was missing out on, which is what he literally just said. If he would have stayed around at Rose's plan and give him a birthday surprise, if he would have just realized that and waited and not put up a fight and just randomly left town. So that's, like, really, really sweet, and I'm really glad that Connor got to experience his first ever birthday, like, as an actual birthday and not just another day. So that's a really, really sweet thing. Before I go, do you need anything else, Reich? The young nurse asks. Have you been in any pain at all? I'm fucking fantastic, which is why I need to get out of here tonight. You know that's not possible, she says. That's what I've been telling him. Lowe twists his wedding band. It's an anxious habit, a giveaway that says he's craving a drink. Reich follows my gaze and notices a sign from his brother. He sighs heavily. I'll be out of here in 2 more days then? That's possible, she nods. We just need to keep watching your vitals. If you take it easy but keep walking gently around, you'll be out of here in no time. Reich grabs his sandwich back and places it in the bag. I'll do that then. He's letting go of this fight for his brother. Strangely, his love for Lowe may be what helps him stop from getting an infection. If my mother was alive and could see this, I'd show her it as evidence, love benefiting someone's health. It's tangible enough that she might accept it, as I do now. Grieve Reich as well as I can, which is why they need to communicate through words to avoid fighting. That's not easy for either of them, but thankfully they've grown better at expressing themselves to each other. So Reich just had a major surgery to help out their father. In Addicted After All, we found out that he decided to do this, and in this book he had the surgery. And Lowe is extremely worried about him, and this is Connor's perspective, and we get to see what Connor thinks about their communication, which is exactly what I've been saying for the entirety of the freaking book, that if they just talked to each other and told each other how they felt or what they actually meant in layman's terms, their lives would be so much easier. But we know that it's hard for them, as he also observed. And I know that life is just not that easy. She still has to adjust to the house and the people in it, Reich explains. Huskies like to explore.
I didn't buy a fucking lab because I thought Daisy would like this breed better. Daisy looks up at Reich with the sincerest type of love in her eyes. He knows my sister well. Oh, Daisy wants the same dog that I've always wanted, a Siberian Husky. Absolutely beautiful and are cuddly and sweet and just love to explore and are like literally Daisy is a husky in animal form and dog form, and I think that is really cool. It's really cool that Daisy's favorite dog is my favorite dog. He adds, Sadie may not get along with the blank or with the husky. She deserves a chance. He presses his fingers to his jaw in contemplation. Why do you want her back, Rose? This is the second question that I'm positive he already knows the answer to. I abandoned Sadie. I gave up on her, and I never do that. She's a lot like me, you know, I say. Sadie and I, we share the same qualities. We're both aggressive and standoffish. We strike without thinking, and we struggle to let people see our soft sides. Connor let her go because she was expendable to him, Frederick explains. You're not. Translation, he won't abandon you. The sentiment is nice, but Connor and I are different. He can throw away things when they have no more use to him. I can't. What if she's not expendable in my life? I ask, can I have her back then? He shakes his head, silent. And now after the husky appears in their house for Daisy, it's with Daisy's anxiety and her PTSD. She is a trained service dog for her to help her, and now Rose is like, okay, well, this makes me miss Sadie a lot. In fact, that she gave her up, and now she really wants her back. And I'm here to attest to the things that they said in the other book, and I never mentioned that, but the theories about cats sucking baby souls and clawing them and not liking them, some of that is myth, and also some of that depends on the cat and the cat's temperament, because my two cats do not do anything to my daughter. They sit there and let her touch them, pet them, pat them, even hell, grab hair, and the only thing Shadow, my one cat, has done, she's the lovable, friendly one that loves people and wants to cuddle, and she sleeps with me literally every single night. And she lets Emery do everything until a certain point, and then she'll get up and just go, or she'll meow, but that's it. She has never struck her, she has never pulled her nails out, nothing like that. Now my other one, Anastasia, she was a stray. She doesn't really like people. She runs and hides. Now she comes and goes as she pleases, and sometimes she's sweet and she's friendly and she'll cuddle with you or like rub up on your leg, but it really depends on her mood and when she wants to, not when you want to. And she'll just run from Emery. Like, Emery will pet her like 2 or 3 times and then she'll run away. But again, has never touched her. So sitting behind them getting rid of the cat isn't necessarily all fact. I know it's a book and this is fiction, but I just don't think that was fair to the animal at all. But now that I do think about it, the way Sadie was, she probably would not have liked being thrown into a situation like that, have acclimated to it well, but at the same time, just like Rose said, she deserves a chance. She never got one. Ah! Got her! He clutches the back of my head with his other hand, and very slowly, I understand, he whispers, get ready, darling. His breath heats, this may spin your head. Yeah, it is. Oh my god. So a couple books ago, Connor did like a striptease thing, gave Rose a lap dance, and I really think this is what he's about to do again in public, which is something that Rose's OCD just doesn't allow. PDA for her is something that she freaks out over, and she's trying to alleviate that stress and that OCD and that anxiety with alcohol. It's St. Patrick's Day and everyone went out is having fun at this bar, and they're trying to distract the media by putting out some PDA images, and Rose just isn't like that, and she's like, I'm not ready. So Connor's like, okay, I know how to fix this, and he's taking the attention off of her and putting it onto him, I think, by giving her a lap dance. The chapter ended just like that, but I realized as soon as I turn this page, I'm gonna know exactly what happens. But holy shit, that is hot. I want that to happen to me. Please! Oh my god, fucking yes, Connor. His fingers unbuttoned the last one, his shirt open to reveal his infuriatingly defined set of abs and those carved biceps. My husband is stripping on a bar, a show meant to stir the media, but also meant for me. Oh my god, this is like the hottest thing in the entire freaking world. Can this be real? Please. I realized it didn't even need to be on the floor wasted to accomplish a bigger public display than most people will ever commit in their entire lives. He made me feel safe, comfortable. He's done this before, switching an event onto himself so it eases me into it. His confidence has a way of seeping straight through me, and I love this person in front of me, a man that I always want to be with.
That is the sweetest thing ever, and I really wish that this kind of man is out there somewhere that would do this for their woman. Maybe not in the same exact way, but would switch all the attention on them given any situation, because they know that it makes their significant other uncomfortable. And this way, it, like she literally just said, it eases them into it. It makes them feel more comfortable. It eases their anxieties. Like, that is a attribute that is priceless. Oh shit. And then everything just got so serious after that beautiful display of affection and love. Reich, they've been worried about Reich this entire time, about him figuring out what's actually going on, and they really need to keep him out of it. And this is something that is so completely out of their nature that he's just like, what the fuck? And they don't think that he's gonna take no as an answer for an explanation anymore. Watch his eyes slip off me, and I follow them to Reich. He wears a dark, questioning glare pinned on us. It says, why the fuck are you doing this? Did they lose a bet? It doesn't make fucking sense. But they can't reply with what they're actually doing. This might be the night where Reich refuses vague excuses and fights for a real answer. Ooh, I'm nervous. Well, Reich finally opened up to Connor. I think it wasn't meant to, but I think he said the right words and like pushed the right buttons, and it just made him speak up. You want the truth? I went to college and I wanted to just be me. I had no fucking clue who that was, but I thought I'd figure it out. He lets out an angry breath. I couldn't determine if I loved Spanish, Italian, French, or Russian because she wanted me to love them, or because I really did. I switched my majors 5 fucking times for freshman year, so you fucking laugh that I landed on a thing like journalism that I've never used, but I tried almost everything and nothing felt right. I digest each of his words and the emotion behind them. Before I can speak, he continues. Look, she made it fucking harder for me to find my identity, but if I asked her to rock climb, even when she didn't really like it, she'd still let me. My mom and dad spun lies, and I had to abide by them to protect their reputations. I used to be smarter and athletic for their pride, not mine, but now I read for me, I run for me, I fucking speak for me. But I was conditioned so much that I know some things are just my parents in my head. He extends his arms, so there are some languages that I'd like to forget. Which ones, I questioned. Russian, French? That's why it's pulling teeth trying to get him to speak French to me. I walk over to the room's desk and lean against it, my hands on the wooden surface. I don't think you've ever spoken this much to me. I say, I appreciate it, for whatever that's worth to you. My life is nothing. I never once struggled with my identity the way he did, but someone in our group did grow up as the yes kid just like him. You always saw yourself in Daisy, didn't you? He tenses and nods. Yeah. Well, my daughter got halfway down the hill. So that's a lot, and the struggles that Reich went through sucks, but he's finally admitting them in the open, although we kind of knew this already. You kind of can just tell, but he's never said that stuff out loud. Riley did to Connor, of all people. If someone asked me to name the first 2 attributes of Reich Meadows, aggressive wouldn't even be on the list. In the heart of his soul lies kindness, wrapped tightly in selflessness that shows in almost every action. Connor. You're not superhuman, Connor. This world will not change for you. I can't stop this. I can't prevent a barrage of questioning and speculation. I don't call the 10th, 11th, and 12th media outlet. I scramble to make different ones. I clutch the phone firmly to my ear, but my heart pumps deeper, louder. As soon as the line clicks, I say Rose. It's in her name, my throat sears, and I think I missed a link somewhere. Was it Theo? Was it Jonathan Hale? Was it Frederic? I fucking block out the how. I have to, but I know the how is stampeding the real pain, the worst thoughts, the ones that attempt to barrel into me. Rose will be dragged into this by her ankle, suffocated beneath someone else's wrestling tide, and the best I can do is hold her while we go under. I've never imagined myself drowning before, not like this, and I've never imagined I'd have these 2 choices, drown apart or drown together, together always. I would never let Rose suffer through this alone. Oh God, this sucks. Again, this entire book is surrounding media, the plot, the conflict, and obviously Rose and Connor. And with them trying to protect everyone else, they forgot to protect themselves, or didn't think that they would have to protect themselves. But someone leaked something that Connor has been trying to hide since the sex addiction of Lily's came out. He had papers drawn up and sent to these people who signed them, and he paid them off so they wouldn't speak. And now someone said something, and it's going everywhere, and there's nothing that he can do about it. Nothing. And I hate the fact that this is happening, because you can experiment and you can do things when you're younger before you find the person you want to be with. And in today's society, people do this all the time. Relationships are never questioned, but I think part of this is because he hid it in the first place, and that's the reason why
it's probably going to hit so much harder now because it wasn't forthright in the beginning. Saying that Connor made the wrong choice with hiding it. Hi, Emmy. But I do know that I don't think that it would have been this bad. He would not have hid it. And now, because it's coming out at the time it is, it's making his entire relationship with Rose just look fake. And I feel horrible about it, but there's nothing you can do. Our 6-month plan just backfired. I saw consequences and the risk. There was always a cost attached. I'm not foolish to believe it was ever infallible. By nature, tests are meant to fail or they're meant to succeed. I just never believed it would fail like this. Oh, my heart aches so bad because this is going to test their relationship more than anything has. And this really reminds me a lot of Lily and Lo went through in their trials and stuff. And now Rose and Connor are having extremely similar with their relationship being questioned, just like Lily and Lo and Reich's relationship was questioned. So this is definitely going to be a tough thing to read, but I asked for it. I said in the beginning that I was ready and I was excited and I wanted to get through it and I wanted to read all the hard parts and I wanted to feel it, and I'm feeling it. Literally what I just said about Lily and Reich and Lo and their rumor, this is what Connor has to say about it. This isn't a baseline rumor like the ones with Lily, Lauren, and Reich. The media has actual evidence that discredits us. Our marriage and our love and public perception will be overwhelmingly against us, unlike anything they faced. His thumb strokes my cheek. This isn't close to the same caliber. Our companies can handle the blows. It's not our companies I'm worried about, he tells me. Translation, I care only about our future together. So their relationship, that really sucks. And this right here is a pure example of how media twists, and this is real. This is real. Like right now, I hear people going through it all the time, not just famous people like on reality shows and TV shows and actors, but people doing YouTube and influencers, and specifically one that I followed, that I watched. It's a game show called Big Brother, and there was a contestant on there who said some things and did some things, and she looked really bad in light of day, and it's been 10 years. She's still being scrutinized for it today, and literally this is exactly what Rose said. People can change, people can grow, people can realize that the idea of something is more frightening than the reality. I'm not allowed all of that, and am I just supposed to be identical to myself at 18 and at 22 and at 26? Can I never decide differently or think a new way? Why must I be the same? Like, I'm not kidding. Literally, it's not fair. The same person you were 5 years ago. I am not the same person I was 2 years ago at all. I've changed so much. I've grown. I've been through some shit that has changed me. So I don't understand why people think that that's okay, that you can't, like, it's just, make it make sense to me. It doesn't make sense at all. It's completely dumb. It's idiotic, and any person can see that. But because you're chasing some kind of drama or some kind of hatred, you just want to hate somebody, you just want to find something to hold on to clasp on that's you can judge. That's not fair, and you're being literally a hypocrite. I cannot tell you how many hypocrites are in this damn world. I can be a hypocrite on some points, but I try and pride myself on not, and when I find myself being one, I admit it. Like, it's not that hard. I think we both recognize that this media uproar has begun to hurt us much more than anything has ever before, which I wholeheartedly believe, and this is going to be something that is going to take a lot of time and healing and just everything to help them get through this. I, again, feel so horribly, but it sucks because people just think that their love is a facade. And reading this book, I just know, like, because you know their inner thoughts, you know exactly what they're thinking, you know exactly how they feel about each other, and just that chapter, how they're trying to, they're crying in each other's arms, and they're just trying to make sure that each of them know that I'm going to be there for you, and I love you, and no matter what this comes out, like, don't let that change your perception of me. You're my entire world, my body, my soul, my brain, everything. It's attached to you, it's for you. And they love each other so much, and it sucks through this. And people don't really know or understand that their love is real because media sucks. If who did this is who Connor really thinks it is, it's really fucked up. And all because people don't understand what's really happening. All because you're jealous of a relationship. It's the same thing all over again with Frank's mom. Has to do with that same freaking family.
Every time. The anger I feel right now, like I am literally shaking. I'm shaking. That's how mad I am right now. So it is fucking true. But what gets me is that Connor literally just put him in his place. Like, I'm not kidding. Even though all of this is out and there's no going back, and what Connor just did, literally, all he had to say was 2 fucking paragraphs and literally just told everybody in the room, like, everyone is turning against him. What he did is exactly what Reich's mom did. And you know what? They can go back on him and, like, tell his secrets, and he can go to jail. If they were honest, he can go to jail if they found out who Lo's real mother was. I'm not kidding. But he just fucked himself anyway because he just lost everybody. Like, he didn't want Lo and Connor to be together that bad. He didn't want Connor in his son's life so bad because he's so threatened. And no one thought that he was going to make this decision because we thought that he wasn't stupid enough to do it because he should have known this shit was going to happen. And he was going to get outcasted. He's a fucking idiot. I don't know how you do it, Jonathan says, almost beneath his breath. He actually heads to the foyer. I ask since I know Connor won't do what? His eyes land on my husband. You make me feel like I lost when I should have won, and you make it seem like you won when you lost. He must have been planning a victory lap around my living room, ready to pump his fist in the air and exit with his son, safe and sound by his side. Now he's leaving with his tail between his legs. We both lost, Connor admits, and I pale. He never admits this aloud, even when it's true. A cold blade drives through my abdomen, reality sweeping me back into a tempest. Love your husband, you don't love your child. It's all a big game, it's all fake. Fake, I scoff, fake. What about our pain and fury and grief? Is that fake too? This is so sad. This is extremely sad, and I really want to cry. I respect and look up to Connor so much because he is, even though he's an arrogant asshole, he is very honest, and because of Rose and because his friendship with Lo and just being in this group, he has become a better person. He has become selfless. He does things for people he cares about without even questioning it, without thinking about it. It just happens. And he was not like this in the beginning. Like, just like in the Addicted series, how I was comparing how Lo was in the beginning to now. Same thing with Connor. He has changed so much. It's like a 360 turn that he has taken. And the fact that the person who did this to him, he pities him. And instead of letting the people that care about him and that honestly probably hurt next to the most compared to Connor, he's giving them peace about it. It's not going to take away the hurt or the pain, but it's going to take away the villainization of it. And it takes a big person to be able to do that. A really big person. And that's something that I love and respect and honor about Connor. It's the most frustrating and raging battle I've ever been a part of. My natural instinct will always be to speak louder if they tell me to shut up. It sucks because this is a huge thing in media where you can say the truth over and over and over again and no one's going to believe you. They're going to believe what they want. So no matter how much you try and explain what's actually going on, how you honestly feel, it doesn't matter. It goes nowhere. And it sucks because she feels like she can't win. She can't say anything. It's the most frustrating and raging battle. That right there, like, so angry you can't speak, so angry you feel like you can't move because there's nothing that you can do. One of the worst feelings in the entire world, and I've been there. I've been there where I know my truth, but someone doesn't believe me, and it is the most enraging and frustrating thing to go through because you know what actually happened, but they don't care. And the other thing that's highly enraging and something that's very hard for me to try and accept and get over in this book, something that I've never been okay with and something that Lo is advocating for and is like yelling at his brother and at Connor and Rose. But I completely understand it given the situation, but it just sucks that there's no changing it, and it's because of outside forces that are like, you feel like you can't do something that you've always wanted, or you're choosing not to do something that you've always dreamed of doing or having because of outside sources, because of media, because you feel like you can't protect, because you feel like that the world isn't welcome enough to be able to do these things or to bring these things in, and it really sucks. And they should not be allowed to determine how your life goes. But in this situation, in their situation, and honestly a lot of people's situations in real life, this is the case. And it's so not fair. They're more saddened and more grieving over the fact that they're most likely losing this, even though they've already determined that they were. But I don't think it's actually gonna happen. I feel like that it's actually gonna come to fruition. I just have to believe that, because I cannot imagine it not happening. I just can't. I will not, because to me that's not a happy ending at all. It's definitely something that it's honestly the hardest thing for me to swallow in this book, given everything that they've been through. Knowing this is the hardest thing that I've had to accept, because I'm just not like that. I refuse to let somebody change what I've always wanted to do or what I want to do because of a situation. Like, it's not fair. I'm put in a situation like this, so obviously my opinion could change just like theirs, but I just still think that it's highly enraging, and it's just not okay. On a happier note, the chapter did end nicely. Beautiful is coming out of it, and Rose feels amazing. She feels more established and more justified and more confident in believing in something that she never thought that she could do, something that she is still learning how to do, and something that she never thought that she would be doing. And the fact that other people like Lily, her closest sister, and Lo trust her with this means the world to her. And I love that it ended on that note, because they definitely needed some kind of happy in the shitstorm that they're going through. And then the next chapter ended extremely sad. Can't be how it ends. It feels like the closing of our future. All I see is a massive door trying to swing shut on our dreams, the ones we built together. It is. 2 more gut-wrenching words. Then maybe his thumb brushes my bottom lip, but I notice his jaw tightening. He's not happy with this verdict. I expect he's going to say, not yet. I predict that he's not ready to accept this outcome. He kisses me on the lips, and he says, I will. Translation, we're done. We're done doing this together. I'm gonna have to end this video here because I don't have words. I don't have words. Y'all, and I know that Connor's greatest conflict in this book is him remembering his humanity, and remember that he is human and emotions are a part of being human, and he has been relying on Rose for that, to keep him grounded, to keep him with his emotions and not go back to how he was and being selfish and not caring about anybody else's feelings and just doing things to his benefit and not being selfless and not loving anybody, not saying that he doesn't love. And he's terrified to let that love in, because he's terrified that for Agony to attach him, and he is having to attach himself to Scott, the really horrible producer guy of the reality show that we've talked about a million times, that we want to castrate and make him die. Like, I am Rose incarnate when it comes to that man. And he had to do something that literally made him push out all of his emotions so he was able to handle doing it. And he's struggling back that emotion because he's having to regress to be able to accomplish this task to protect his family. But in the end, it may cost him more than he ever realized. It's going to be really hard for him to come back from this. Which sucks, because he believes, and maybe the only way to win would be to do this. But it sucks because he may be losing a lot in turn. I love you, Rose. I love you. And this is exactly why Connor is your husband. This is why that you guys are meant to be together, because you bring him back. You bring him back. No hesitancy, just does. Bullshit, she tells me. I know you, and you may be arrogant, and you may be wholly conceited and unabashed to the millionth degree, but you're not cold-hearted. You're not unfeeling, so stop pretending to be. You get him, Rose. Bring him back. Bring him back to where he needs to be, to where he truly is himself. And here it is, how I say in every single book, closer to the end, they put in the title of the book into it, and I can't just read that part, so I'm going to read a little bit more for you guys. I reached my own tipping point with the pain of love. Never did I believe it'd be too overwhelming for me. I look at Rose. Then what do you want? The truth, she says, not just facts. You can't handle it, Rose. She almost appears wounded. She's fine. Then her eyes flash hot, indignant again. She points a manicured nail into my chest. You can't handle it. You can't handle it, Richard. If you could, you'd tell me the full extent of what happened. I don't want to confront her or tell her the truth. I'll see her pain. I'll feel it churn through me, and I won't. I can't bear this weight. I'm stronger alone.
Let me live with this knowledge. You don't need it. She fists my shirt. I won't let you lie to yourself. I made you that promise and I'm keeping it. She stares down at me. Everyone expects you to love this version of me, so maybe it's you who's wrong. Everyone loves the awfully cowardly, fake versions of you. Her eyes swell with passion. They love the lesser you because they don't know the real one. My hand shakes. Rose, I murmur, my chest blazing the longer I stare into her eyes. She fuels the fire in my soul. She embers slowly dying, and she tries feverishly to awaken me. Yes! You should never hate the better version of you, the one that loves, the one that hurts, because this man in front of me is extraordinary. Her words flood me, choke me, grip me, and burn me. Her words light me in a lethal blaze, and I'm smothered in hot sentiments that pull at me and beg me to scream. I hold her harder, tighter, and forehead pressed against hers. I'm on fire at every part of me. I don't want to be less than human. Maybe it's this natural remorse that makes me like everyone else, and maybe it's our everlasting cerebral love that makes me more. My muscles scald, my breath locked tight, but I hold Rose right here. Pain seeing my lips from hers, tension tearing at my flesh. It's overwhelming, it's horrible and blinding, and I clutch on her as my own guilt and shame keeps pummeling me at a breakneck speed. I'm not leaving you, she whispers in a broken voice, further compounding this gut-wrenching pain. Kiss her. I choke, grasping her sleek cheek. I love you. I'm burning alive. She cries more audibly, and I kiss her, our lips together in fervent, tortured kisses that linger. I inhale with her, and I slow the movement, our tears dripping, and it becomes a soul-bearing, passionate kiss that awakens my mind. I hug Rose to my body, taking her off the chair, my lips stinging with salt and urgency. When I've been spilled bare, I've allowed her spirit to seep inside of me to remind me why I love. I can barely catch my breath, blistering against her. And she asks so quietly, what else do you need? What do I need? No one has asked me this before. The answer hits me at once. A break. I need more time away from everything. I'll make it happen, she assures me, her hands dropping to my chest. I stare into her yellow-green eyes, and I sense that she's feeling my heart pounding against her palms. What would I be without you? A blink and a single tear drops down my face. We both know the answer to this. We both recognize what she's doing for me. Remind me, burn me, love me. I kiss her forehead, my chest alight with passion and pain. Ensemble, she whispers in French. Together. Ensemble, I murmur. Together. And this is why they are my favorite couple. This is why they will forever be ingrained inside of me and inside of my soul. Because this kind of love that I find in almost all of my favorite movies and TV shows. And I wholeheartedly believe this is why that they will forever be a part of me now. And now I'm really excited and happy again because they have a trip in this book. I told y'all that every book that they have one of these like impromptu or like little vacation trips is one of my favorite things to read about, and I'm really happy that they put one in this book. There they are, Lily explains, slowing our Escalade at a lookout point on the mountainside. The Ferrari parked, Rake and Daisy stand on the metal railing to view the sprawling green landscape, a massive drop on the other side. Their unleashed dog sniffs the grass beside them. Jesus, Lauren curses. I roll down my window with the same time as Lo. He beats me to the punch. Hey, he shouts, crazy raisins. Rake and Daisy both look over at the same time. Lily mutters under her breath, crazy for Raisy, to correct his misuse of their couple name. I find this hilarious because I remember I was watching a read with me or a comment or a video or something somewhere of a TikToker and YouTuber that does a lot of read with me. She has a bookstagram and she does book talk. And I started watching her videos. I believe, if I remember correctly, she read this part. I don't know if it was in this book or not. Lost it, and she was like, I'm calling them that now. Their name is Raisins, like crazy raisins instead of Raisy. I remember that. Oh, God, I wish I could go back and find it, but I honestly can't remember what video it was, but that just like took me back. Oof, I had a feeling that this was it when Willow went outside to make a specific phone call, and then when everything started happening during the seance and things going kaboom and lights flickering, I was like, wait, they think that it's something spooky, but it's really not. So I figured that this happened, and again, I think it's alluding to the spin-off series with Willow and Garrison, which I'm really excited about, but also obviously they're pissed because she snuck him in here and no one's supposed to know they're there, although she did say that she made sure that he didn't know, like she blindfolded him. Weird for a 12-hour drive if that's really what happened. So definitely figured that was happening, but I will say that I absolutely loved that chapter where they were playing light as a feather, stiff as a board, and doing a seance, and they didn't do Ouija board, but that was something that they had mentioned, doing all the spooky games at a sleepover with all of them. And that's just, I love those scenes with them and their family vacations. I think those are my favorite scenes to read. One of them, and I'm really happy that they inputted this chapter into this book. Just another sentence that shows how much Connor has grown Reich and Lowe. Through years of ups and downs, fights and risks between us, we've even become closer, and they've both taught me valuable things, how to be selfless and how to bear the pain and love. I don't live for money or for the titles or achievements like I used to. I live for people. There's nothing greater than that. Broken souls are mended every day by mended souls that were once broken. So basically, Lowe and Lily saved Garrison's life. He's going through a lot right now with his family and just in his life in general, and he doesn't know where to turn. And if it wasn't for Lily and Lowe giving him a chance at Superhero and Scones, he wouldn't be where he is today. They have no idea where he would be at, but he has admitted his faults, and he understands his wrongs, and he knows what kind of a person he is, and he's willing and wants to change. And I really don't think that if it wasn't for Lowe's compassion when it came to them and how the boys treated them, he would have never come out on this side. And Connor is seeing that, and I think he already realized that before, but I think we get to see what his inner thoughts on the subject is now that we're in his book. Oh my god, you guys, I want to cry. That was the sweetest and saddest chapter that I've read in this book. Personal, and it's something that is so close to my heart that I understand, and I haven't gone through the same exact situation personally, but I've gone through similar. And I understand why they put it in Rose and Connor's book and not Daisy and Reich's, because it's going to be a huge part of it, and I'm unsure if we're even going to be able to see this. And maybe in the epilogue book we may see a freaking miracle, or it may not be as bad as we think, and it'll all work out and we won't have to see what Rose just offered to do. It's all Rose. It's Rose to do this. Like, after hearing exactly what she said, I knew Rose was going to be the first one to speak up and say, we're going to find a solution. Here's the solution. I am here for you. I am putting my body out there for you. I have you. And I absolutely love this. She will do anything for her sisters and for anybody that she loves. And it makes my heart burst, because this chapter was extremely sad, but it was also extremely heartwarming to know that she's not alone in this. And although she is alone, but she isn't alone, if that makes sense, if y'all understand what I mean by that. She's having to go through it physically alone, and emotionally she's gonna it's different than anybody else, but at least she knows that there are people around there that are willing to help and help her dreams come true, no matter the cost. Oh, thank you, Connor, for using the very beginning of your press conference to address and try and shut down, or at least reprimand, the media for their actions. There is nothing that the media could say to me that would justify the way they've acted. You can hound me, you can follow me, but in no way should you frighten those around me to harm my wife and potentially harm my daughter. There is no excuse that could put any of you on the right side of morality. Amen. I cannot tell you how proud of Connor I am. He chose to not fit in their boxes. He chose to not lie. He chose to not downgrade himself and choose something that could potentially ruin everything that he's built. And I honestly think that Reich is the catalyst for this reason, because he gave him a book with a quote in it that he purposely found for him. This is the quote. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. He chose to be unreasonable. He chose to tell his truth. If they don't understand him, even if they don't get why or who he is, he's just saying, accept me or not, basically. And that is completely opposite of what their media managers told him to do. He chose to do what he knew was right for himself and for his family. And I am more proud of him than I have ever been. And they got Sadie back. I don't think we honestly ever got to see Connor in his true element of manipulating somebody and getting what he wants, like the full process. And we get to see that in this book with Scott. And he literally just got what he wanted, at least the first half of it. Douchebag motherfucker, 0. Rose and Connor Cobalt, brilliant, 1. They got the first thing that they needed. And I'm so excited to figure out how Scott Van Wright officially goes down. And I just love that we get to see how Connor does his magic, and he's doing it. He's not just doing this for his own personal gain. He's doing it for his wife. He's doing it for his family. He's not just doing it for himself, because he doesn't care about these sex tapes, but it hinders Rose, and he's doing it for her, and also just to bury this motherfucker so far underground that no one will be able to find him.
Oh my God. And I knew it too. Before, as soon as he said pick a number 1 through 7, and it was videos, I knew exactly what it was. I didn't realize who it was until a little bit further, but I knew exactly what the situation was. And fuck you, Scott. You're getting exactly what you deserved. I am so fucking happy that this has happened. Well, I'm not happy that it happened, and I'm not happy that this had to happen for this to happen, if that makes any sense. But the situation itself is fucking retarded, and it should have never happened in the first place. But if it never would have happened, this man never would have been brought to justice, which is exactly what he's about to. He literally set the smoking gun right in front of Connor, and now he's done. To accomplish what Connor did and still have a soul, it takes a rare strength and power that no human being could ever match, not this uncharted degree. That just shows how strong Connor is and how far he has freaking come from the 12-year-old, detached, unfeeling kid who used humans for his benefit, who didn't see human life as anything else but an advantage for him. Going from that to a selfless, loving man who would do anything and everything to protect his family. Man. And the fact that he used his wife's voice in his head to keep him grounded speaks volumes about their love. Speaks volumes about how much he cares and how deeply seated their love is to each other. And that's a love that I really hope is not just storybook. I really hope it's real. And I really hope someone out there has that kind of love. Oh my God, Lily, she's doing it again. She's like the center of every single book, even if the book isn't about her. She's like, she holds her group together even though she's been through the most out of everybody. Just what she did Reich and Daisy's relationship, sending out Twitter storms and hashtag Razy and their love is alive. She's doing the same exact thing for Rose and Connor after their relationship was pulled through the mud and tarnished because of some man's awful jealousy. That is the most wholesome, cute, amazing chapter that was added to this book. And just like at the very end of Addicted After All, Lily and Lo's last book, Connor is the one who stands up and gives a speech at their wedding. This book, Lo practically does the same thing, stands up and gives a speech that brings everyone in unison, that shows how much love and care they have for Rose and Connor, and actually acknowledging that, something that neither one of them ever realized that any of them would actually do for them out loud, and basically brought the entire family back together after so many rifts and mistrust and lies and hateful things said and done to each other. Them all accepting it and forgiving everybody and saying their apologies and their truths and being completely honest and just that needed to be said, all in a familial and calm way. And I think at the very end of this too, a very subtle way of making the readers realize that the pact or that the decision that Connor and Rose had come to about their future that they've always wanted, I think it was alluding to how they were going to be able to work it out and still be able to have what they've always wanted, even though they decided that they never would because their plan had failed and backfired. And I really think it's going to happen. I already knew it was going to happen. There was no doubt in my mind. I haven't even read the full series, but just from things that I've heard, like, I know that it happens. I just didn't know how. The realization that they don't have to go through with what they originally had thought, because this is what really matters. There are rare people who will fuel the fire inside of you, who will awaken a dormant passion, who will challenge you, who will push you and better you. She alone is my rarity. I'm always whomever or whatever people need me to be, I say strongly, but you are the only one who needed me to be me. She nods with tears brimming her eyes. I can hear your heart beating. My lips pull higher, and I tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. It beats in equal time with yours. I kiss the hollow of her neck and whisper, always. Oh my God, y'all, I cannot, I don't have words. I don't even know how to say, what to say, how to handle this. All I know is that their love is beautiful and it transcends everything that I could ever freaking imagine. They're not going to live an unfulfilling life. They are not going to let the media determine their future and the way that they choose to live and the way that their family is going to be. And I am so fucking beyond happy that this is happening. No idea how excited I am to read the epilogue novel and to see how their future is. And I know that their stories and their lives and their love will live on within all of the readers and the writers, because in books, characters really never die. They live on and their story goes on forever because you make it whatever you want. And I just find that so beautiful. Aw, y'all, the tabby cat and the husky being best friends. Like, everything. Oh my god, y'all, I want to cry so much. This book was absolutely beautiful. It was heart-wrenching and hard to swallow. But like everything, it works out in the end. The fact that people can go through such damage, can go through something so hard and come out so much stronger and is priceless. The way that the writers have written their story is beautiful in more ways than I can even express. Saddened that the epilogue, like a bittersweet moment, because it was the ending of a story, but also a beginning, a new beginning for them as a family. Because the fact that it's starting off on a new adventure, it's just a new road that is being made for this series, for these characters, and for this book. And I'm so excited and I can't wait. This was Connor and Rose's last book in the Calloway Sister series. There's only 2, and then the next one will be Reich and Daisy's, and then we are headed to the epilogue novel, which has everybody's perspective in it, and you get a little piece of everybody's story in their future. It's basically their ending story, although the writers could always decide to write more books or short stories about these characters, and I'm really excited and hope that they decide to have these characters live on in some way and not just leave it up to the imagination of the readers, although that is also fun, because a lot of people make fan fictions about their favorite characters. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me for Fuel the Fire, Rose and Connor's book, one of my all-time favorite love stories, favorite couple. I am so excited to get to the last 2 novels. I cannot believe we are nearing the end of these Read With Me's as far as the Calloway and Addicted series go. But thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next book.